A very, very beautiful evening. Good morning. A very beautiful morning to you. You're welcome to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Mano. And of course, I'm very, very happy to be here this morning to bring you up to speed with the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sport. On our menu this morning, athletics confirm new dates for senior championship. And of course, a Spanish tennis star pathways with a title-winning coach. And in football, another Super Eagles captain announced a retirement from international football. This and many more will be yours after this short timeout. Stay with us to be right back. You're welcome back as the Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. And of course, joining me this morning to do justice to the issues we have on our menu is Rex Epele. Rex, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, Kingsley. Thank you for having me on this beautiful show today.
All right, let's take a look at the latest coming from athletics this morning. The Confederation of African Athletics has confirmed that the 24th African Senior Athletics Championship will begin on Tuesday, May 12, 2026 in Accra, Ghana, officially setting the date for the continent flagship track and field event. Ghana Athletics announced the confirmation in a statement issued yesterday after receiving formal approval from the Minister for Sports and Recreation and the Confederation of African Athletics, affirming Ghana's status as host of the championship, which will run until Sunday, May 17, 2026. According to the program released by Ghana Athletics, preparations for the championship will begin ahead of competition with the arrival of the CAA administrators and technical officials scheduled for May 8, 2026. The signing of a memorandum of understanding between Ghana and the CAA is expected to take place on or before January 8, 2026, and subject to the availability of the sport minister. In addition, the local organizing committee for Accra 2026 is scheduled to be inaugurated on Thursday, which is of course today. What do you make of it? Ghana, the host of the African, championship. Do you think they have what it takes, to put up a very befitting competition?
Yes, of course, they have what it takes. And going from what we are seeing, they are going to be having the committee for the competition. So it shows that they are making a lot of preparation ahead for a competition that is supposed to hold, I think, at May 2026. So I think it shows that putting all this in consideration, they have what it takes to host a befitting athletics competition.
All right, let's see how it goes. We look forward to see what comes up, and Nigeria participating, of course, in this one. We hope that they will put up another impressive, performance this time. Away from that, President of the Nigerian Cricket Federation, Oye Apata, has reaffirmed the board's commitments to transforming the West African Trophy into the biggest cricket tournament in sub-Saharan African. After its launch in Lagos in 2023, the second edition of the tournament concluded in Abuja on Sunday with Nigeria emerging champions at the NCF Oval inside the Moshood Abiola National Stadium. The Yellow Greens maintained their dominance with a 40-run victory over Rwanda in the final, repeating their success from the inaugural edition in Lagos in 2023, where they also defeated Rwanda to lift the title. Speaking during the final in Abuja, Apata outlined the federation's plans to expand the competition from 4 teams to as many as 8, a move aimed at maximizing the use of available facilities and harnessing the potential of more cricket-playing nations in the region. Apata also explained the federation's inability to stage the tournament in 2024, attributing it to a congested calendar while stressing the NCF commitment to the development of cricket across sub-Saharan Africa. During the maiden edition in Lagos, Nigeria competed alongside Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Rwanda. For the 2025 edition, Zambia replaced Ghana, marking the Southern African nation's return to competitive cricket after an 8-year absence. So this is a tournament that have been on in Nigeria for since 2023, talking about the cricket, trophy. And Nigeria, of course, has been dominating this particular one. And of course, the president of the federation, Iya Akpata, is saying that they want to make it a very big one in the sub, African region. How do you see this one, panning out? And as well, talking about the growing momentum of cricket in the country, how far do you see them going forward?
Well, I think cricket is not like is not like the other sports that is most popular, And but I think that with the recent development, the Nigerian scene is gaining more traction, and Uyi Akpata has pledged to rebrand, to make sure that the competition is well positioned, is well organized, So I think that that's a good one for the development of the sports, and I see it gaining a lot of traction in the years to come by.
All right, let's see how this one, of course, will go down. But away from that, let's talk rugby, as Nigerian Rugby League Association has reinforced its backroom staff with the addition of a director of high performance and mentors for both the men's and women's nation teams. The governing body announced Luke Sherman as director of high performance international teams and competitions, moving from his former role as assistant women's team coach. The Nigerian Rugby Federation also announced the appointment of New Zealand international Javada George as the women's national team mentor, while Ashley Klein comes in as referee mentor, and Tara Jones will support the development and increased participation of women referees in Nigeria. Referee mentor Klein is widely regarded as one of the best referees in the world. The Australian officiated the National Rugby League Grand Finals in 2008 and 2018 and 2022 and 2024, alongside Jones, the only full-time female referee in the UK. The addition is to further strengthen Nigeria's officiating structure, and the Nigerian Rugby League Association through Alaro City hosted a high-performance camp that saw players and staff from Australia, Canada, and the UK join locally based leagues for a week at rugby school at Nigeria, followed by 2 weeks at Alaro City. All right, let's take you down to Scrabble this morning as Nigeria's Ajumo Ami recent surge has sharpened focus on the African Scrabble Championship Liberia 2026, with officials describing the player as one of the continent's leading prospects heading into the event. Jimo arrives in the spotlight after winning Scrabble Mania 3.0 in Morovia, a performance that has prompted the Pan-African Scrabble Association to call for greater backing for emerging African players. Panasara President Do Yoche Degbasin said yesterday that Jimo's rise reflected a broader moment of opportunity for the sport across the continent. The African Scrabble Championship, as a gathering of Africa's finest world competitors, is expected to attract around 150 players from 15 countries, with Morovia set to host the continent's flagship Scrabble event. Nations including Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Kenya, Uganda, Sierra Leone, Gambia, Zambia, South Africa, Mauritius, Tanzania, Botswana, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, and host Liberia are due to participate as well. Now, players are scheduled to arrive from October 18 ahead of an opening ceremony on October 21st, with matches running from October 22nd to 25th. Rex boxing gradually gaining momentum. I beg your pardon. Scrabble gradually gaining momentum down here in Nigeria. We're seeing stars, being, of course, on Earth. At the end of the day, the likes of Adumomin, of course, being, of course, one of the best we've have so far. What do you make of, the growth of Scrabble in Nigeria?
Of course, Scrabble has come to stay, and we've seen the momentum from years back. A lot of local Scrabble competitions in the country, one hosted in Bayelsa. We've had a lot of talent, emerging from majority of those competitions, and this is another one for Jimo, rising to the top. So I think that we need to make sure that we keep most of these talents, arising from these competitions, and knowing that the bigger competitions are coming for them, so that when it comes, they can be able to harness them properly to make sure we pick up, especially from the Scrabble competition medals.
And of course, let's talk boxing this morning, as Jake Paul has insisted that Anthony Joshua has made a mistake by agreeing to a weight restriction for their fights. Paul is meeting the larger Joshua and in the heavyweight division on Friday, which is, of course, tomorrow in Miami. Joshua must hit 245 pounds, the first weight rule of his career, although he insists he is on course to comfortably meet the demand. But Paul insisted, "I don't agree with the decision on his behalf. He has taken away the best thing against me, which is power." Joshua has started training with the team who prepare Usyk, who previously outboxed him twice in Spain before facing Paul at this point in time. The highly anticipated bout comes up tomorrow, Anthony Joshua against Jake Paul. And Paul, of course, has been complaining of the weight of Anthony Joshua, all right, that he must reduce Joshua's weight, I think, very high, as you know, from what we're seeing. I don't know what you make of this bout. Paul looking a little bit, will you say, from what his body language and the statement, of course, he's been making, do you think the man is a bit intimidated heading down to this one?
Well, I feel like it's just a mind games. People throw mind games when major competitions come like this, and for them to get something out of it. And if you're not psychologically smart, you fall for it. So I think trying to push the weight narrative is just a mind game for Anthony Joshua. I think that the weight has nothing to do with winning. It's about,
when a boxer gains weight, his stamina increases.
Sure.
His punching power increases. And that's what Paul is talking about, that the weight must be normal at this point in time for him to take up the bout. Paul is not a conventional, he's not a professional boxer. He's a YouTuber who has, that flair for boxing. And of course, we've seen him in some couple of bouts. Yes, he's been a little bit impressive, but it's not a match to Anthony Joshua. Joshua is way ahead. in boxing than him when it comes to experience, all right, tactics and all of that. So that's why Paul is talking to us like he must reduce his weight, that when it has to do with power, he's already ahead of him, and all of that. All right, so that's what I'm asking. Do you think the man is a bit intimidated, heading down to this one, looking at the fact that he's fighting an experienced boxer, one who has been in the game for a very, very long time in the person of Anthony Joshua?
I mean, he may not be. He may not be. It's, like I said, it's just his strategy to.
Do you think Jake Paul can beat Anthony Joshua?
It will be a tough one for both of them. Knowing fully well Anthony Joshua carries a lot of experience, like you said, with power and everything. I think that is a match that is supposed to bring food to their table. So more like
the money is the attractive point.
Yeah.
The money is a very huge amount of money. I think even Paul, a lot of persons have been advising him he should back off, all right? But the money here is so huge for him to back off. If you ask me, I don't think Joshua should spend up to 3 rounds against Paul. He should be able to knock him out maybe in the first or second round.
You may be surprised, understand? Things don't work like I said. You'll be surprised that the fight can even go up to the 5th round.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't, because if it does, it means Joshua had lost it. Honestly, because he shouldn't stay on the ring for like 4 rounds against Jake Paul.
For some time now, Joshua has not been at his best.
He has not been at it, but this is a comeback for him and not a match. His opponent is not his match.
His opponent is not his match, but remember, you don't take things like that for granted. It's like when you look at the opponents and you think you can go all the way to ride on them, it may not be as easy as you think. So I think that, to me, it's still a 50-50 chance for both sides. Let's see how the match turns out tomorrow. So
it's not a 50-50 chance.
I wouldn't want to give it. People will say give it to Anthony Joshua, but from a sporting perspective,
will you put your money on Jake Paul?
I wouldn't, of course. But it's an open arena where anything can happen, of course, in boxing.
Open arena it is, but I tell you, Joshua looking very much ready. Have you seen his recent physique? The man is so built, for this one. And he's even training with the trainer of Alexander Usyk, the man who beat him back-to-back, of course, of recent. So you see how ready. I'm even surprised why Joshua is even getting very much ready for this bout, because this is a man he will just one punch and is down.
Don't think that way. Remember, he has not been at his best, so he has lost some confidence, and it's not about the punching, and it's about the confidence, the confidence to carry on. So when you've lost that confidence, you need to reshape yourself a bit and position yourself for a better fight, no matter the opponent.
Let's see how it goes. The bout comes up tomorrow, the highly anticipated one, and we'll see, of course, who get this one. Everyone, of course, tipping Anthony Joshua to go ahead in the space of 2 or 3 rounds here, but we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how it goes. Jake Paul, can he do the unthinkable tomorrow? We'll see how that one will go down. All right, 6-time major champion Carlos Alcaraz has split with his coach, Juan Carlos Ferrero, in a shock move. Alcaraz, who's age 22, has worked with his fellow Spaniards since he was a teenager, but announced yesterday that the pair have decided to part ways before the 2026 season. Neither the world #1 nor Ferrero has given a reason for the split as it stands. What could be the reason? The man, has been a good one under Carlos Alcaraz. He's been very, very impressive. What could be the reason for the split?
I think the reason is not official, but I feel like change is always constant. When people are stuck in a particular relationship or in a particular gaffer, coaching you and all that, it comes a time where you needed a change, and I think that probably that's what they both needed at this point in time, and they've been able to achieve it.
Alcaraz is aiming to become the youngest man to complete the career Grand Slam at the season opening Australian Open next month. He has not outlined how he plans to replace Ferrero, but Samuel Lopez, who joined the team in 2024 and has led Alcaraz when Ferrero missed tournaments for personal reasons, is expected to remain. Alcaraz started working with former world #1 Ferrero when he was 15, training with the 2003 French Open champion at his academy about an hour's drive from Accra's home in Murcia. Ferrero was persuaded by Accra's agents about Molina, who spotted the young star at the age of 11 and convinced International Sports to manage him a year later to commit to what he saw as a long-term project. Ferrero was 45, nurtured Accra's talent and took him into the professional ranks before guiding him to all 6 of his Grand Slam titles. Accra's claimed his first major at the 2022 US Open, won Wimbledon in 2023, and added the French Open and another Wimbledon title in 2024, before again winning the French Open and US Open this year. So I don't know how this one, of course, will be a coach he has been with since 2000, since when he was 15 years old. He's 32 now, so you could see the man has really been instrumental, in his career. So I don't know, his departure, don't you think it might possibly affect the man, looking at the fact that this is a coach he's been with, he understands the coach also understands him, all right? Since he started his tennis career, this man has been the one, of course, nurturing him and, of course, helping him to grow. Now he has they have decided to part ways. Akaras probably might be getting a new coach. Do you think things will be the same?
Definitely, like I said, when people split is for as long as they don't have any rifts between them is on mutual consent,
No,
agreement
I'm,
and
I'm
all that.
talking about
And
Akaras' career now.
yeah, yeah,
Will
from
he
the
continue to be firing on probably with a new coach?
of course, it depends on how he places himself. Soldier come, soldier go. So that's how life is. I remember some of his backroom staffs may still be with him, like some the main coach has gone, but the Ferrero has gone, but
Yeah.
some might still be with him. So it's left for him to continue from where he has stopped and make sure that he keeps on firing. So I don't see the departure of a coach being the downfall of a particular player when it comes to tennis. So it's about putting yourself together and finding your rhythm once again. So I think Akaras has the capacity to do that. As a
All right.
player.
Let's see how it goes. We wish Akaras the very best of luck, going forward in his career. But at this point, we'll take a break. When we return, of course, we'll bring you some other interesting issues revolving around the beautiful world of sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back. You're welcome back as the Sports Talk the television network, and of course, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. And of course, let's bring you the latest coming from football this morning as three-time African champions Nigeria will end their 5-day pre-tournament camp in Cairo, Egypt, and depart for their tournament base in Fes, Morocco today. Ahead of the 2025 African Cup of Nations in the North African country, the 2025 AFCON will be staged in Morocco from December 31st, 2025 to January 18, 2026. Nigeria opened their pre-tournament camp in Cairo on Sunday with 10 players, and the number rose to 37 on Wednesday. Paris FC forward Moses Simon was the 27th player to join the camp yesterday, while Galatasaray forward Victor Osimhen was the last player expected in camp before their departure. After settling down in first today, the team is expected to regroup for the final phase for preparations with the full squad before their opening game on Tuesday. Nigeria have been joining Group C, where they will face Tunisia, Tanzania, and Uganda. The Super Eagles will open their campaign against Tanzania's Taifa Stars on December 23rd before Tunisia's Carthage Eagles on December 27th and Uganda's Cranes on December 30th. Super Eagles, of course, moving to their base in Morocco today. I don't know what you make of their preparation. They played a friendly against Egypt, which they lost, and we've seen a whole lot being done, of course, in the side by the coach Eric Chell. What do you make of their preparation? And do you think, with the level of preparation, the team is good enough, of course, to put up a good challenge in the AFCON?
Well, as for their preparation, I would say that not been perfect. They've been able to play a friendly game against Egypt, which they lost, and I would have said that they would have managed at least to keep their steals on that game to make sure that at least they get a draw, but they didn't do that. And when you lose games like that, as for preparations, it doesn't go well psychologically, mentally for you, going into a major tournament like the AFCON. But I think that the team is well positioned. We have the players. It's left for the coach to see how he can use these players to achieve something great.
All right, let's see how it goes at this point in time. But away from that, Ahmed Musa has announced his retirement from international football, bringing to a close a 15-year career with the Super Eagles that saw him become Nigeria's most capped player and one of its most decorated modern internationals. The announcement came via a statement released on social media yesterday, in which Musa reflected on his journey and the pride of representing his country. Musa also highlighted the honor of reaching 111 caps for Nigeria. Musa was part of the squad that won the 2013 African Cup of Nations and made history as the first Nigerian to score more than once in a FIFA World Cup match, achieving defeats against Argentina at the 2014 tournament. He later became the first Nigerian to score in 2 World Cups, netting twice against Iceland in 2018. He pointed to that as moments he will always treasure. He thanked his teammates, coaches, backroom staff, and administrators for believing in him throughout his career, while also expressing gratitude to Nigerian fans at home and abroad for their unwavering support. What Ahmed Musa finally he has retired, from international football. This is what so many persons were waiting to see. 15 years spent with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Will you say Ahmed Musa had a successful stay with the Super Eagles?
Well, yes, of course, from a footballing perspective, and knowing especially what he did at the World Cup with Argentina, scoring the brace, and against Ireland also. But I think that it's not always good to retire when it's good to retire when the ovation is very high. It's very loud. I think he didn't do that. He had the opportunity to do that a few years ago, and but he waited for this moment when he knew that the Super Eagles he won't be caught up. And he decided to do this at this point. So I think that it's good to leave when the ovation is hard. But for his contribution to the Super Eagles, Ahmed Musa has been instrumental in terms of leadership, living by example, and making sure that he carry others along also in the team.
What's the way forward for Ahmed Musa? We understand that I don't know if there are still more chances of him going maybe getting a club outside the country, assistant, because already he's played for Kano Pillars as well as is also the manager of Kano Pillars, assistant. You think he should just, of course, at this point, retire entirely from football and maybe focus on administrative duties?
Of course, that is what he needs at this point in time. He has paid his dues, so it's left for him to hang off his boots for the younger generation to also take over. Yeah, you just hand over the baton to them. He said, I've fought, I've conquered. So I think that being a manager, having a managerial role or taking a managerial role at Kano Pillars from a club where he started his footballing career, I think is a good one for him. But playing at this moment, I think is a no-no for him.
All right, let's see how it goes. We'll hope that Abed Musa, of course, will find a good path after retiring from international football. Away from that, British sports analytics firm Opta has named host Morocco as favourites to win the 2025 African Cup of Nations in Morocco, giving them a 19.1% chance, while Nigeria ranked 5th with a 7.3% chance. The tournament will run from December 31st, 2025 to January 18, 2026. Egypt are second favourites with a 12.4% chance, followed by Algeria in fourth place at 12% chance. Despite Nigeria's strong attack led by Victor Osimhen under new coach Eric Chell, Opta warns that defensive concerns and a tough group could affect their campaign. Rex, how far do you see Super Eagles go in this African Cup of Nation? Supercomputer just ranked them 5th best side, in the competition. It means Super Eagles might not make it to the final if we want to go by what the computer, of course, has said at this point in time.
Of course, it's very certain. Why I said it's very certain is because we've not been consistent in our play, and looking at our performance from the qualification to the World Cup, it's not been up to speed. We've not had the best of performances, and looking at the teams like Morocco, the Algeria, the Egypt, and which we just played recently for the qualifier. I mean, for us as a friendly game, we've not been up to speed. We've not been playing at that same level, with them. So I think that we are below them right now on the pecking order. So it is not a surprise that we are being ranked below them, and it shows how far we can go in the competition. But let's not keep it away that competitions like this, surprises can spring up, and let's just hope that we find our rhythm and get back to where we belong to when it comes to football.
All right, let's see how it goes, of course, for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We hope they get the job done this time around, and a lot of concern about the defense. All right, the midfield, we don't have much issues when it has to do with the attack, but a defense where you don't have a lower Aina, no William Trosekong. We know, yes, he was not really active before he retired. There's this young man that came up, Benjamin Frederick as well. So a lot of concerns in that defense of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Do you think we're going to, of course, see what happened last time? The last African Cup of Nations, we had a very, very solid defense. But with this set of defenders, can they replicate such, tough defensive line we saw last time?
Well, it's going to be tough because some of them are playing their first AFCON, Like Ekon is no more. We know that he has lost his place before he retired, and the Fed League, Benjamin Fred League, I even heard he also picked up a knock also, so he may not be playing in the competition because he was a very good cover, for the last 3 games, before Ekon retired. So I think that we are going to have a lot of lapses in that back line, but let's see how Eric can manage that also. Then for the midfield, I think we have a lot of midfielders. Indeed, Iwobi's there. They can be able to manage and they do well at this level of the AFCON competition. Not really, if it's the World Cup competition, I would have said where you are playing with the likes of big players in Europe and all that. But this is AFCON, so you have all it takes to slug it out. Power man to man and everything. So the fact that the defense line is really concerned for us. So I think Eriche needs to find a possible solution to make sure that we have a strong back line, ready for the AFCON.
All right, so away from that, the Football Federation of the Democratic Republic of Congo has strongly warned Nigeria and the Super Eagles against qualifying for the 2026 World Cup through what he described as backdoor. The football body was reacting to the recent petition by the Nigerian Football Federation to FIFA protesting the eligibility of some of their fielded players in the recent playoff clash that led to a 4-3 penalty shootout victory in Morocco, a result that ended the Super Eagles' hopes of progressing to the FIFA Intercontinental Playoff. The Congolese side has since been handed a bye into the final of the Intercontinental Playoff tournament, where they are scheduled to face the winner of the semi-final between New Caledonia and Jamaica. Reports suggest that between 6 and 9 DR Congo players who switch national allegiance may not have fully complied with eligibility requirements under Congolese law before representing the country. So I know you might have heard of the back and forth between the NFF and the Democratic Republic of Congo that defeated in an ineligible player in the World Cup playoff, and now they are coming to warn the Nigerian Football Federation that they should, stop or probably not try to go to the World Cup, using the back door. What do you make of the whole issue in this NFF and Democratic Republic of Congo as it has to do with the World Cup?
To me, I see it more as a melodrama. Like trying to go through the back door, like you rightly said. So it's not you've lost out, and you're bringing politics into the frame right now to make sure that you outsmart your opponent. Meanwhile, you had the opportunity, the 90 minutes or so to slug it out, but you didn't get the job done. So I think that the last time it favored us when the ineligible player came up with South Africa and all that. But this time around, I don't think it's going to favor, because sometimes when you do some of these things, FIFA or CAF tends to look deeply into it to show that these people are trying to be smart by playing politics. They did it the first time, it worked for them. Now they are trying to. Meanwhile, you had all the opportunity on the fair playing field to slug it out, and it didn't work out. And I think that it's not a good way to qualify for the World Cup. It's just trying to go through the back door.
All right, the winners of the 2026 World Cup will receive $50 million in prize money as part of a record financial contribution for the tournament from FIFA, a World Football Governing Body announced yesterday. The total World Cup prize fund of $655 $55 million represents an increase of almost 50% from the $440 million distributed to teams taking part in the last tournament in Qatar in 2032. However, next year's World Cup, to be held in the United States, Mexico, and Canada from June 11 to June 19, will be the first to feature 48 teams, a 50% increase from the 32 teams last time. The Argentine Football Association received $42 million in prize money after Lionel Messi inspired them to glory 3 years ago when they won on penalties in the final against France. France received $30 million for their run to the final, and this time the beating finalists will pocket $33 million, with the third place finishers collecting $29 million and other defeated semi-finalists getting $25 million. Teams eliminated in the group phase will receive $9 million, while all 48 participating nations will get an additional $1.5 million to cover preparation costs. So increments in the prize money for the World Cup, what do you make of it? Will it, of course, motivate the teams to want to fight, of course, for the trophy?
Sure. It's a very good way to, when you increase the price of the World Cup competition or any competition, it tends to give a team the motivation to go and grab the gold. Some may be going for the gold, and some will also know that even if I get to the silver, medal, I'll still have something, to go home with. So I think that it's just a way to motivate the teams that are in for the World Cup, that they can, and also to make the competition more competitive for players also.
A backup goalkeeper Matthew Sanovo for saved 4 penalties at Paris Saint-Germain edged out Brazilian Flamengo 2-1 in a shootout to win the FIFA Intercontinental Cup final in Qatar yesterday. PSG led through Victor Kvaratskhelia before Jorginho's sports kick leveled for Flamengo as the game finished 1-0 after extra time. Copa de Libertadores winner Flamengo defeated Mexican's Cruz Azul and the African champions Pyramid last week to earn the rights to face PSG and push the European champions all the way with a dogged display. But Luis Enrique's men, who received a bye to the final, were indebted to Salvanov and followed in the footsteps of Real Madrid, who lifted the inaugural title last year. Another trophy in the bag for Paris Saint-Germain.
Yes, a good year for them, and they are banging the trophies, and this is a good sign that the club is also in the right direction.
In the right direction, of course, indeed. Away from that, Ryan Cherki's stunning strike put Manchester City on their way to the League Cup semi-final with a 2-1 win over Brentford yesterday. Ahead of the hectic festive Premier League schedule, Pep Guardiola could afford to give Erling Haaland the nut off as his side secured a 6th consecutive victory in our competition. City won the League Cup 4 years in a row under Guardiola between 2018 and 2021, but this is the first time in 5 seasons they have progressed to the last 4. Chelsea booked their place in the 2-legged semi-finals earlier next year with a 3-1 at Cardiff yesterday. Newcastle or Fulham will join them later today. Why? I beg your pardon. We saw that game, of course, between Newcastle and Fulham as well. But City looks to be very impressive. All right, they've been winning games back to back. Are they really back to their best?
Yes, I think they are getting back to their best, knowing fully well who they are, and looking at what they suffered last season with the absence of Rodri. I think Guardiola has been able to put his sides together, and they are fighting for all major competitions, and they didn't start the season at their best, but they've been able to gather momentum. And look at the Premier League, for instance. They're just 2 points away from Arsenal. We know that the Arsenal, we know, sometimes may not be psychologically stable. If they end up maybe City topping them, I'm sure it's going to be a tough cracker for them, winning the league. So I think City are really back. Are beginning to bounce back to their winning ways, and I think it's a good one for Guardiola.
Good one, of course, for Pep Guardiola, and we'll see how far, of course, he will go this time with the team. We understand that at least 5 teams have booked their places in the Copa del Rey round of 16 stage, and the teams are Barcelona, Deportivo, Elche, Real Sociedad, and Valencia. This comes following the conclusion of Tuesday Copa del Rey round of 32 fixtures. Recall that Barcelona defeated CD Guadalajara 2-0 at the Pedro Catin Stadium to qualify for the next stage. Meanwhile, more rounds of 32 fixtures will take place today, and the winners will join the aforementioned 5 teams in the last 16. All right, let's bring you some, of course, interesting stories revolving around the beautiful world of sports. This time concerns female football, as Barcelona and Lyon clinched places in the quarterfinals of the Women's Champions League yesterday, while Chelsea came from behind to beat Wolfsburg and qualified directly for the last 8. Holders Arsenal must go through the playoffs along with Manchester United after missing out on a top 4 finish. As Bayern Munich pinched the final automatic final bet, Spanish champions Barcelona finished top of the league phase unbeaten after a 2-0 win away to Paris FC with Vicky Lopez and Caroline Graham Hansen scoring in the French capital. The 3-time champions league winners Barcelona have reached the final each of the past 5 years, and they pipped Lyon to face the first place on a goal difference after both clubs ended level on 16 points. This season's format is similar to the men's competition, with the top 4 teams in the league phase qualifying for the quarterfinals and clubs placed 5th to 12th going into a playoff around down there. And with that, we're going to call it a wrap on the show this morning. Special thanks to Rex, of course, for doing justice on the show space. Rex, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, Kingsley, for having me on the show.
All right, we'll be back 6 p.m. on Sport Extraordinary to bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful Award Sports once again. Don't forget, you can go down to our different social media handle, Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. The conversation continues right there. My name is Kingsley Manuel. Thanks for watching.